Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse. Hit points in Corekeeper have gone through a bit of a journey. When early access first started, there were no rules. People had characters with 50,000 or 100,000 hit points, sometimes way more. Because of duping glitches and no limit on how much permanent hit point food you could eat, the sky was the limit. But those days are long gone, and new players can only get their hit points so high. But how high can it go? And is a build focused on hit points any good at surviving or killing bosses? Well, let's take a look. The gear for this build can vary a bit. All of it will be at level 18 and reinforced. Just so that it's said somewhere in this video, characters start with a base of 100 hit points before you have any gear, skills, or buffs. So with that said, let's get started with the gear. First, we've got the Frankenbrute head. This seasonal helm is found in the Samhain goodie bags during the Halloween event, and it gives the wearer an extra 63 hit points. For our chest, we have Ivy's Thorn Harness. This chest piece provides 100 hit points, and it drops off the slime boss Ivy. You can find Ivy in Azios' Wilderness. Ivy's pants give you 92 extra hit points, and they also drop off of Ivy. The lantern has 26 hit points, and can be found in crates and chests within the Larva Hive subbiome of the Clay Caverns. The Ocean Heart necklace can be a little tricky to find. It spawns in the Sunken Sea. You're looking for a scene with a beached caveling ship. The necklace can be found there, and it provides 58 hit points. For your bag, we have options. Gorm's stomach bag is the bag of choice for the maximum amount of hit points at plus 67 hit points, but it only has 12 slots. If you're willing to go down to a plus 28 bonus, the Scarlet Shell backpack has 15 slots. And if you don't want to sacrifice any inventory slots, which I don't really blame you, you'll want Morpha's bubble bag. Gorm's stomach bag drops off of Gorm. You can craft the Scarlet backpack, and Morpha's bag drops off of Morpha in the Sunken Sea. When it comes to rings, there are also a couple of options. The rings that provide the highest hit point bonus are the coral rings at 62 hit points each. There's a Coral Island scene that drops the ring, and the ring drops off the slime boss Morpha in the Sunken Sea. However, the ring's other bonus is boat speed. And boat speed is just not that useful. So alternatively, you can use the Nomad rings. These rings provide a plus 59 hit point bonus, which is a 3 hit point bonus loss from the coral ring, but it also provides a 22% damage boost. In my opinion, the Nomad rings are the best choice for this build, even though you are sacrificing 6 hit points. One of the hardest items on this list to find, the Oracle deck, is crafted by collecting 9 cards scattered across the entire map and combining them with the Thread of Fate, a rare item found at a scene in the Desert of Beginnings. The Oracle deck provides 57 hit points. Now, if you don't have the Oracle deck yet, you can use the Octarine Shield, which can be crafted from the Octarine Anvil. It provides 32 hit points. With weapons, we have several options. The best in slot for this build is the Rune Song, the game's most pain in the ass weapon to get. It provides plus 85 hit points, and also is just a pretty good weapon when fully upgraded. However, since this weapon sucks to get, let's talk about alternatives. The Broken Handle drops from various bosses, chests, and crates all over the early game, and chances are you've already got several of these. This item provides 64 hit points. However, if you're willing to forego the hit point bonus, the Poisonous Sickle synergizes with the chest and the leggings and offers a significantly better damage boost than the Broken Handle. If you want ranged, unfortunately none of the ranged weapons provide a hit point bonus, so really you can use any ranged weapon you want. The blowpipe synergizes with Ivy's armor, but the Phantom Spark or really any ranged weapon will do what you need it to do. None of the pets in the game currently have any effect on hit points. As such, it really doesn't matter what pet you use. Use your favorite pet. I used an Owl Lux that boosted my melee attack speed and gave me a chance to do triple damage on hit. When it comes to skills that do damage, your focus will be on boosting melee if you're melee or boosting ranged if you're ranged. I'm going to focus this section of the video, however, on skills that boost hit points since this is a hit point build. Starting in the Vitality tree, we have the Vitality tree. Getting 100 Vitality gets you an extra 100 hit points. When it comes to perks, we have Maxed Out. This adds 30% of all of your skill points added to your maximum health. Once you've maxed all of your skills, that's an extra 270 hit points, so don't forget to fish if you want to max this out. In the Gardening tree, if you choose the Poisonous Sickle or the Blowpipe as your weapon, you'll want Potent Poison for the extra 25% damage. Otherwise, you can skip this perk. Finally, in the Cooking tree, we have Healthy Diet. This doubles your well-fed hit point buff from 5% to 10%. Food for this build comes in two forms: permanent hit point food and buff food. Let's start with the permanent hit point food. The giant mushroom can drop off of Shroomin, and it has a chance of spawning in a mushroom patch. It adds 25 hit points permanently. The amber larva adds 50 hit points, and it can be found in a scene in the Forgotten Ruins. It also has a chance to drop off of Gorm. The Atlantean worm heart drops off of the Atlantean worm boss in the Sunken Sea, and it gives 100 hit points. The Starlight Nautilus can be fished in lava water found in the Molten Quarry. It also has 100 hit points. You will need a Galaxite fishing rod to get this fish. Golden Chocolate is a drop from luxury winter presents during the Christmas seasonal event. Buy a little helperling from the seasonal vendor and give it rare or epic cooked food. It will give you a luxury winter present in return. The chocolate adds 28 hit points. And our final piece of permanent hit point food is the Anniversary Cake. It can be purchased from the seasonal vendor for 20 glow tulips and 20 slimes. It adds 27 hit points. When it comes to buff food, the best food item for boosting your hit points is the barrel anglefish. This fish is found in the Shimmering Frontier waters. Combining it with any golden crop will get you an extra 170 hit points with the rare food, or an extra 204 hit points with the epic food. I used Golden Pine Grapple to get a boost to melee attack speed and damage. If you're ranged, you might want to use the Golden Pupaya. If you want to see what other foods I use for my builds, check out my food video, linked above. For testing, I decided to try all the Titans, and of course, Igneous was my favorite test dummy. Overall, I was pretty happy with the results. While this build isn't really all that OP, it lacks critical hits and damage bonuses, it's decent and has decent damage. The coral rings weren't nearly as bad as I thought they'd be, but the nomad rings were just better. I actually found myself missing the hit points of Gorm's stomach bag, so I think it is worth considering sacrificing the inventory. Personally, I would still use Morpha's bag, but I did get stressed out a little bit during a few fights and took healing potions after tanking a couple hits. Gorm's bag can give you a little extra breathing room. For weapons, I thought the Rune Song was the best, but the Poisonous Sickle held out its own as well. I had some issues with the broken handle, and while I could kill bosses with it, I struggled a lot more. Health regen from the Oracle deck was a major player in me being able to stand in melee and just tank hits. I highly recommend getting the Oracle deck as soon as possible to replace the Octarine Shield, or get really good at blocking. Overall, the highest I could get my hit points was 1,844. But my preferred version of the build gets to between 1,763 and 1,837 hit points, depending on which bag you go with. This build is definitely one that is better for bosses than general survival. It's fine in the wilderness, but it struggles a little bit in the sunken sea, and the caveling assassins in the desert just rip this build to pieces. I would not roam around the desert with this build, but you can kill Igneous with it, and Raw Car. So it's a good boss killing build. Finally, I would say that this is a decent tank build. With the high amount of hit points, you can just stand in melee and accept several hits from the bosses before having to move or take a potion. With the attack speed bursts, this build does well when you just stand still and burn your enemies down faster than they can burn you down. And I think that just about wraps it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and until next time, stay crazy.